It started with one video, a single clip that should have never seen the light of day. Late last night, social media erupted after footage surfaced showing Mendeecees, Yandy Smith's husband, caught in what appears to be a private moment with Erica Mena. The grainy video, filmed somewhere that looked like a dimly lit lounge or maybe a hotel suite, showed them laughing, whispering, and leaning in closer than anyone expected. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Screenshots spread like wildfire. Fans started asking one question: what was Mendeecees doing with Eric alone and secretly filmed? Yandy's name trended before sunrise. The love and hip-hop community was on fire. Some fans defended her, saying she didn't deserve this public humiliation after everything she's endured, while others accused Mendeecees of slipping back into old patterns. But what no one expected was Yandy's reaction. Instead of staying silent or posting a polished statement, Yandy went livid, swollen, voice trembling, clearly fighting back tears, and what she said sent shockwaves through every corner of social media. Before we even get to that live, though, the timeline of how this video came out is just as twisted. According to multiple sources close to production, the clip wasn't a random leak. It was allegedly filmed weeks ago during an off-camera reunion meetup. Erica, known for her sharp tongue and no-filter attitude, had been filming side content for another project. Somehow, this private encounter got caught in the crossfire. Insiders say the footage was passed between editors before mysteriously ending up online. And now, everyone wants to know, was this a setup, a mistake, or something much deeper? What's worse is how familiar it all feels. The last time Yandy's trust was tested, she stood by Mendeecees through prison time, media scandals, and public scrutiny. She built her entire image around loyalty, strength, and family. But seeing him in a situation that questions that trust, fans say it's déjà vu with a darker twist. Yandy held it down for years, one fan tweeted, and this is how he repays her. With Erica. Meanwhile, Erica hasn't exactly helped calm the storm. Hours after the clip went viral, she posted a cryptic story, a slow-motion video of her pouring champagne into a glass with the caption, "Some secrets always find their way to light." That alone sent fans spiraling. Did she leak it on purpose? Or is she trying to warn that more footage exists? Now, the love and hip-hop world is divided. Mendeecees hasn't spoken publicly, and Yandy's circle is rallying around her. But with emotions running high and rumors of another video surfacing soon, this might be the biggest blow to their marriage yet. And when Yandy finally breaks her silence on camera, what she reveals will leave everyone stunned. Because if you thought this was just about a leaked clip, think again. This goes far deeper, into betrayal, revenge, and a shocking twist no one saw coming. It all started on a quiet evening, or at least it should have been quiet, when Mendeecees Harris stepped into a dimly lit lounge with the kind of confidence only someone accustomed to attention could carry. Fans might have expected a casual night out, but unbeknownst to him, cameras were already capturing every subtle movement, every whispered word, every smile that lingered a second too long. The air was thick with tension, though no one in the room realized it at the time. What began as a seemingly innocent encounter soon spiraled into a chain of events that would shake the love and hip-hop world to its core. Mendeecees had arrived first, his tall frame moving through the lounge with a quiet purpose, scanning the room like a man who knew exactly where he was supposed to be, yet carried a secret weight on his shoulders. The whispers began almost immediately when Erica Mena entered, her presence commanding attention without effort. She wore a smirk that suggested she knew more than she let on, and the way she locked eyes with Mendeecees set off alarms for anyone paying attention. What was meant to be a casual greeting stretched into a prolonged interaction, filled with laughter and gestures that, in hindsight, were far more intimate than casual. Fans who later watched the leaked footage were quick to notice the small details. The way Mendeecees' hand brushed against Eric, the quick glance over his shoulder as if checking no one was watching, the subtle lean that closed the space between them just enough to raise eyebrows but not enough to seem overtly suspicious. It was calculated, some might say, but whether it was intentional or naive, it was enough to ignite a firestorm once the footage went public. Yandy Smith, meanwhile, was at home, unaware of the brewing storm. Friends later recounted that she had sensed something was off in the days leading up to the leak. Subtle shifts in behavior from Mendeecees, a distracted tone, fleeting moments of evasive. She brushed it off at first, attributing it to stress and busy schedules. But deep down, there was a gnawing unease that refused to be silenced. When the video finally surfaced online, it hit her like a thunderclap. Emotions ran high. Betrayal, confusion, anger, they all collided in a way that was almost too heavy to bear. Fans watching her live reaction described it as raw, unfiltered, and completely heart. Her voice trembled, and her eyes welled with tears that betrayed years of loyalty and sacrifices. What added fuel to the fire was the timing. This wasn't a random encounter captured by paparazzi at a public event. Insiders claimed the footage was filmed in a private setting, somewhere neither Yandy nor the general public would have expected. The secrecy made the breach feel even more personal, and the reactions online reflected that. Hashtags exploded, opinions poured in, and debates raged over whether Mendeecees' actions were intentional or simply a moment of poor judgment. The family was left divided, and fans were shocked, as if watching a slow-motion collapse unfold before their very eyes. As the narrative continued to unravel, multiple sources close to production revealed that the footage had been circulating quietly before its public release. Editors, assistants, and close acquaintances had all seen snippets. Yet none anticipated the chaos that would ensue once the clip hit social media. Rumors began to swirl about how Erica might have been complicit in letting it leak. Some speculated that she posted cryptic messages online, subtle hints that suggested she knew the impact her actions could have. Others insisted it was all coincidence, a chain reaction of miscommunication and careless exposure. Regardless, the effect was undeniable. Fans were captivated. Social media was ablaze, and the entire love and hip-hop community was holding its breath for what would happen next. The clip itself, though brief, was enough to create intense speculation. Mendeecees was seen laughing at something Erica said, leaning closer than usual. Their voices almost inaudible but suggestive enough for fans to create entire narratives around them. The subtle gestures, the shared glances, and the laughter that lingered too long were dissected frame by frame. Every movement became a point of debate. Was this innocent? Was it flirtation? Or was it the first sign of something far more consequential? The ambiguity kept fans on edge, and each replay seemed to reveal another layer of potential deceit. Yandy's response, however, became the central drama. When she finally went live, the world watched as a woman whose life had been meticulously documented through reality television suddenly appeared vulnerable in a way that was both shocking and deeply human. She spoke directly to the camera, her tone a mixture of disbelief and hurt, describing the sense of betrayal she felt, the hours spent trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Fans empathized, and comments flooded in, ranging from words of support to heated accusations aimed at Mendeecees. Inside sources revealed that even Mendeecees' inner circle was stunned. Conversations that were once private became public debates, friends and family taking sides as the tension escalated. Some tried to defend him, citing years of commitment and the pressures of public life, while others openly criticized his choices, noting that patterns of questionable judgment had resurfaced in the worst possible context. The divide created ripples that were felt not only in personal circles but across the entire fanbase. Discussion threads were endless, memes proliferated, and every post was dissected for hints of truth. The leaked footage also introduced unexpected complications. It wasn't just the interaction itself that caused controversy, but the implications of being secretly filmed. Who had access to the footage before it went viral? How long had it been circulating behind the scenes? Speculation ran rampant, with some alleging insider sabotage, while others suggested it could have been an unintentional slip that spiraled out of control. The questions were endless, and the lack of concrete answers only heightened the drama. Every new rumor, every cryptic post, and every fan reaction seemed to pull the story further into chaos. And then came the moments that fans called the emotional peak. Sources reported that after seeing the footage, Yandy confronted Mendeecees privately, the confrontation lasting hours. Voices were raised, tears were shed, accusations flew, and at times, silence spoke louder than words. The Love and Hip Hop insiders described the scene as intense, noting that the raw emotion revealed cracks in a marriage that had always presented a unified front to the public. This was no scripted reality television moment. This was life spilling over into a lens that the world couldn't look away from. The tension was compounded by Erica's own subtle maneuvers. She didn't openly engage with the controversy, but posted hints that kept the speculation alive. Cryptic stories on social media, vague comments during interviews, and a carefully curated public persona all contributed to an environment where nothing felt accidental. Fans dissected her every move, theorizing about motives, intentions, and possible next steps. Was she deliberately stoking the fire? Or was she merely a bystander caught in an unfolding spectacle she couldn't control? The ambiguity only deepened the intrigue. Meanwhile, online communities exploded with theories. Forums dedicated to reality TV gossip ran 24/7 discussions. Fans uploaded slow-motion replays, froze frames, and highlighted The narrative took on a life of its own, growing far beyond the simple facts of the video. Every glance, every laugh, every pause became material for debate. Influencers weighed in, news outlets covered the fallout, and the story became a textbook example of modern-day scandal amplification. It was a perfect storm of emotion, timing, and visibility, and no one wanted to look away. By the time the first night ended, the implications were clear. This wasn't just about a leaked video. It was about trust, public perception, loyalty, and the fragility of relationships under constant scrutiny. Fans were left shocked. Conversations were heated, and everyone was waiting for the next revelation. The situation had set a precedent for what might come, and insiders warned that the story was far from over. Emotions were raw, alliances were fragile, and the entire love and hip-hop universe was bracing for impact. And as dawn broke, the anticipation only grew. Sources suggested that more footage might exist. Unseen angles, longer interactions, moments that could further illuminate or complicate the truth. Fans speculated endlessly, some hoping for clarity, others fearing the consequences. One thing was certain: the events of that night would linger, creating a tension that wouldn't easily dissipate. The stage was set for dramatic confrontations, heated discussions, and revelations that could redefine relationships and reputations. Even as part one of this unfolding saga closed its first chapter, it was clear that the story had only begun. Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica were at the center of a whirlwind that showed no signs of slowing. Each gesture, each reaction, and each choice would now be magnified, scrutinized, and debated endlessly. The lines between private and public, between intention and perception, were blurred beyond recognition. Fans, friends, and insiders were all left asking the same question: what happens next? And as the world waited, the drama quietly promised that the next chapters would be even more intense, more shocking, and far from predictable. It didn't take long for the situation to escalate. As dawn turned into morning, the leaked footage began circulating beyond social media feeds, infiltrating group chats, text threads, and private messages at a speed that seemed impossible. Fans dissected every second of the clip, replaying gestures, whispers, and glances as though the truth could be extracted from pixels alone. Every conversation about Mendeecees and Erica became a debate about loyalty, trust, and reputation. And at the heart of it all, Yandy's silence or lack thereof was shaping the narrative in ways no one could have predicted. Sources close to the couple reported that the confrontation between Yandy and Mendeecees extended long past what was initially revealed. The couple argued in private for hours, voices echoing through the halls of their home. Yandy demanded explanations, her voice a mixture of disbelief and hurt, pressing for answers that Mendeecees seemed reluctant or unable to provide. How could this happen? She asked repeatedly. Was this a mistake or something more? Her emotions were raw, and it became clear that no scripted reality show could have prepared her for the intensity of the betrayal she felt. Mendeecees, on the other hand, appeared defensive, caught between the public scrutiny and the private weight of his actions. He tried to explain, to justify, to contextualize, but each word seemed to inflame, rather than soothe. "I didn't mean for anyone to see it," he said at one point, his tone measured but fraught with tension. "It was just a conversation, nothing more." Yet, the evidence suggested otherwise, and fans weren't convinced. The footage alone painted a picture of intimacy that couldn't be ignored, leaving room for doubt, speculation, and growing outrage. As the argument raged on behind closed doors, the outside world was busy forming its own judgments. Social media erupted with hashtags and trending topics, each post more sensational than the last. Memes, reactions, and opinion pieces filled feeds, some defending Mendeecees as a man being unfairly scrutinized, others condemning him for what many saw as a repeat offense. The story had reached a point where private pain had become public spectacle, and every word or gesture from the trio would be analyzed for hidden meanings. Meanwhile, Erica maintained a careful distance publicly, though sources hinted that behind the scenes she was fully aware of the chaos her presence had caused. Insiders reported that she remained calm, measured, and deliberate in her actions, posting cryptic social media stories that kept the gossip mills running. A slow-motion clip of her pouring champagne, a half-smile in a mirror selfie, or a carefully chosen caption, all of it contributed to a growing sense of mystery and suspense. Fans speculated endlessly about her intentions. Was she manipulating the situation, or simply existing in the eye of the storm? The ambiguity only added to the drama. The ripple effect extended beyond social media. Friends and family were pulled into the whirlwind, forced to choose sides or maintain neutrality. Some of Yandy's closest allies openly supported her, calling for Mendeecees to answer for his actions, while others tried to mediate, emphasizing understanding and forgiveness. The divisions created tension that threatened to destabilize relationships that had seemed unshakable. Even production crews associated with love and hip-hop reportedly felt the pressure, as the leaked video became the centerpiece of a broader narrative that extended far beyond the scope of any planned filming schedule. The unfolding events also highlighted the fragility of public image. Yandy, known for her poise and strength, showed moments of vulnerability that fans had rarely seen. Live streams captured her recounting details, struggling to maintain composure while conveying the depth of her hurt. Every pause, every sigh, every trembling word became material for speculation. Viewers were drawn into her emotional world, empathizing with her pain and frustration while simultaneously debating the responsibility of Mendeecees. It was a delicate balance between understanding, outrage, and the insatiable curiosity that fuels reality TV fandom. As days passed, the tension only intensified. New rumors began surfacing, whispers of additional footage, unconfirmed reports of secret meetings, and suggestions that the leak might have been orchestrated by someone with insider access. Every revelation, no matter how minor, was dissected and magnified. Fans scrolled endlessly, consuming each update with a mixture of fascination and disbelief. Conversations that once centered on music, business, or personal accomplishments now revolved entirely around scandal, trust, and betrayal. Inside the Harris-Smith household, the impact was palpable. Friends described an atmosphere of unease, where every interaction carried the weight of recent events. Arguments, even mundane disagreements, were charged with undercurrents of suspicion. Yandy reportedly found it difficult to trust not only Mendeecees, but also those around them, questioning whether leaks, rumors, or hidden agendas were influencing every interaction. Mendeecees, meanwhile, navigated a landscape of scrutiny that extended from private relationships to public perception, aware that every word, gesture, and decision would be judged by millions. One particularly dramatic moment occurred when Yandy attempted to address the public, offering a brief statement meant to clarify her feelings. Her words, however, were immediately dissected, edited, and shared across platforms. The statement, while heartfelt, sparked further debate. Some praised her transparency and vulnerability, while others criticized her for being overly emotional or confrontational. The nuances of her tone, the inflection of her voice, and the subtle expressions on her face were all subject to interpretation. Fans argued endlessly, creating a digital echo chamber that only intensified the stakes. Meanwhile, the interaction between Mendeecees and Erica remained under intense scrutiny. Fans and insiders analyzed every possible connection, every smile, and every gesture, attempting to determine the nature of their relationship. Some argued that nothing inappropriate had occurred, insisting that the clip was taken out of context. Others suggested a pattern, pointing to previous rumors and moments of ambiguity. The tension between perception and reality became a central theme, illustrating how easily private moments could be reframed in the public eye. The stakes grew higher when insiders hinted at upcoming confrontations. Whispers of a heated reunion, potential interviews, and private discussions that might be recorded or leaked created a sense of anticipation, bordering on anxiety. Fans speculated about possible confessions, dramatic reveals, and emotional breakdowns, imagining scenes that seemed more like scripted television than real life. The suspense was almost unbearable, and every day brought new theories, new posts, and new angles to the unfolding drama. Throughout all of this, the emotional toll on Yandy was evident. Those close to her described sleepless nights, constant reflection, and an unrelenting cycle of processing betrayal and considering her options. Even small interactions carried the weight of recent events, forcing her to navigate a world where trust had been challenged and loyalty questioned. Mendeecees, too, faced internal conflict, balancing remorse, defense, and public perception, aware that any misstep could exacerbate the situation. By the end of this chapter, the story had reached a fever pitch. The leaked footage had ignited conversations, driven speculation, and revealed cracks in relationships that had once seemed unshakable. Fans remained captivated, insiders grew wary of further escalation, and the emotional landscape for those involved became increasingly complex. It was clear that what began as a private moment had transformed into a public spectacle with far-reaching consequences, leaving everyone involved and watching wondering what would happen next. The following days brought an even more intense wave of scrutiny. What had started as a single leaked clip now expanded into a full-blown saga, each new revelation amplifying the drama. Fans and insiders alike began piecing together timelines, conversations, and potential motivations, trying desperately to understand how a private moment could erupt into such public chaos. Every text, every social media post, every fleeting glance from the footage was analyzed, debated, and shared across countless platforms. The love and hip-hop world was captivated, unable to look away. Yandy's presence on social media became a focal point of speculation. She posted sparingly, her captions carefully measured yet emotionally charged, each one dissected for hidden meaning. One image of her looking out a window, seemingly deep in thought, sent fans into a frenzy, theorizing about her state of mind and whether she was forgiving, angry, or planning her next move. Every pause, every subtle gesture in her videos and photos was amplified, fueling endless discussions about the dynamics between her Mendeecees and Erica. Mendeecees, meanwhile, struggled under the weight of public opinion. Sources close to him revealed moments of vulnerability rarely seen by fans, private phone calls, tense confrontations with friends, and hours spent trying to reconcile his actions with the reality of public scrutiny. Each attempt at explanation seemed to create more questions than answers. "I never intended for anyone to see this," he reportedly said, his tone weary yet defensive. But with the leaked footage circulating widely, intent became irrelevant to the court of public opinion. Fans were divided between those who wanted to defend him and those who saw his actions as a repeated pattern of questionable judgment. Erica's role in the saga continued to intrigue audiences. She remained largely silent publicly, yet insiders suggested she was carefully curating her responses to maintain control over the narrative. Her social media activity, from cryptic captions to subtle posts hinting at insider knowledge, kept fans on edge. Speculation ran rampant about whether she was merely an observer or if she had played a more active role in the leak. The ambiguity only heightened tension, leaving viewers desperate for clarity, even as every new hint seemed designed to provoke further curiosity and debate. As the story unfolded, the interpersonal dynamics became increasingly complex. Private conversations purportedly turned heated, with friends and family members caught in the crossfire. Alliances formed and shifted, some taking sides with Yandy, others cautiously defending Mendeecees, and still others attempting to mediate the escalating conflict. The emotional intensity of these interactions was palpable, as years of history, trust, and loyalty were suddenly measured against the immediate impact of a single video. The stakes could not have been higher, and the fallout extended far beyond the initial footage. Fans began to speculate about potential consequences for the couple's future. Would this leak mark a turning point in their relationship, or could forgiveness and reconciliation prevail? Discussions spanned from casual speculation to deeply invested commentary, as viewers debated the authenticity of emotions, the pressures of public life, and the challenges of navigating trust in a reality TV-driven world. Each comment, each post, each retweet contributed to a constantly evolving narrative, creating a sense of unpredictability that kept the audience hooked. The impact of the footage on production and filming schedules was also significant. Insiders reported that producers and editors associated with Love and Hip Hop were scrambling to address the leak, balancing the need for narrative control with the reality of social media's viral power. Previously planned storylines were suddenly overshadowed, and the footage became a central point of focus, influencing content decisions, interviews, and reunion specials. The intersection of private life and public entertainment had never been more pronounced. Tensions escalated further during private confrontations between Yandy and Mendeecees. Sources described scenes where emotions ran high, voices were raised, and tears were shed. Yandy reportedly questioned Mendeecees' intentions repeatedly, while he attempted to defend himself, his explanations punctuated by frustration and regret. The raw intensity of these moments provided a stark contrast to the composed personas both had presented to the public, revealing the depth of emotional strain caused by betrayal and exposure. The wider fan base remained intensely engaged. Forums, social media threads, and fan accounts buzzed with analysis, replays, and theories. The leaked footage became more than a scandal. It became a case study in public perception, emotional vulnerability, and the consequences of private actions made public. Each frame was scrutinized, each word of dialogue parsed for hidden meaning, and every reaction from the main figures amplified the drama, ensuring that the story maintained momentum. Erica's subtle maneuvers continued to play a critical role. Insiders suggested that her deliberate social media activity created an air of uncertainty, making it difficult for fans to determine her level of involvement or intentions. Cryptic posts and vague commentary prompted Debates about whether she was fueling the fire intentionally or merely navigating a situation beyond her control. The ambiguity was a narrative device in itself, adding layers of intrigue that kept audiences engaged and speculating endlessly. Meanwhile, Yandy's emotional resilience became a central theme. Despite the heartbreak and public scrutiny, she continued to engage with her audience in measured ways, offering glimpses of her perspective while maintaining dignity. Her responses were analyzed for tone, choice of words, and underlying emotion, each one adding depth to the unfolding narrative. Fans empathized with her struggle, sharing messages of support and solidarity, while others debated the implications of her reaction, further intensifying the public conversation. The leaked footage also prompted discussions about privacy, trust, and the ethical boundaries of reality television. Analysts and commentators highlighted the challenges faced by individuals whose personal lives are constantly documented and scrutinized. The balance between entertainment and exploitation became a recurring topic, as fans considered the human impact of leaked content, public judgment, and the pressures inherent in maintaining a public persona while navigating private crises. Amidst this, reports emerged of additional interactions between Mendeecees and Erica, though details remained vague. Speculation about secret meetings, conversations, and potential further leaks created a heightened sense of suspense. Fans eagerly consumed every update, drawing conclusions and forming theories based on limited information. The uncertainty fueled engagement, making the unfolding drama both captivating and relentless. As the days stretched into weeks, the intensity of the scandal remained undiminished. The initial clip had set off a chain reaction, exposing vulnerabilities, testing loyalties, and redefining public perception. Each new development was layered with emotion, speculation, and consequence, keeping the story at the forefront of entertainment news and social media discussions. The narrative had taken on a life of its own, sustained by the intersection of private moments and public fascination. By the end of this segment of the story, the consequences of the leaked footage had become undeniable. Trust, relationships, and reputations were all under scrutiny, and the emotional toll on Yandy, Mendeecees, and even Erica was evident. Fans remained captivated, insiders reported heightened tension, and the landscape of love and hip-hop was irrevocably altered. As the story continued to unfold, one thing was clear: the next chapters would bring even more dramatic twists, emotional confrontations, and shocking revelations, keeping audiences glued to every development. The tension didn't subside. If anything, it intensified as the weeks went on. With every passing day, the leaked footage seemed to gain new layers of meaning in the eyes of fans and insiders alike. The initial clip, though brief, had opened a Pandora's box, and every replay revealed subtle gestures, whispered phrases, and fleeting glances that fueled endless speculation. The love and hip-hop community was consumed, dissecting the footage frame by frame, debating intent, and assigning motives in ways that left the three central figures, Yandy, Mendeecees, and Erica, under constant scrutiny. Yandy's response remained central to the unfolding drama. Her live sessions, carefully timed social media updates, and rare interviews offered glimpses into her emotional state. Friends described her as both resolute and vulnerable, navigating the public fallout with grace, yet visibly carrying the weight of betrayal. Fans were captivated by her candor, empathizing with her confusion and frustration while analyzing the subtle nuances in her tone, expressions, and word choice. The contrast between her composed public demeanor and private heartbreak only intensified the narrative, making her a focal point of emotional engagement. Mendeecees, meanwhile, faced increasing pressure from all sides. Insiders reported that his attempts at explanation were met with skepticism, as the public questioned the authenticity of his words and the patterns of past behavior. Each statement, no matter how carefully constructed, seemed to generate further debate, with fans weighing his intentions against the undeniable visual evidence. Sources described moments of private reflection, tense phone calls, and heated exchanges with friends and family, illustrating the complex emotional landscape created by the leak. Erica's role remained enigmatic, adding layers of intrigue to the story. She appeared publicly calm, her social media activity subtle, yet calculated, leaving fans to speculate on her true involvement. Cryptic captions, carefully chosen imagery, and ambiguous commentary created an aura of mystery, prompting discussions about whether she had strategically influenced the leak, or was merely reacting to circumstances beyond her control. The ambiguity kept audiences engaged, fueling anticipation for further developments. Inside the Harris-Smith household, the personal stakes could not have been higher. Sources reported that arguments between Yandy and Mendeecees intensified, punctuated by tears, raised voices, and moments of silence that spoke louder than words. The emotional strain extended beyond the couple, affecting friends and family who were drawn into the conflict, forced to navigate their loyalties while witnessing the escalating tension. Each interaction carried the weight of recent events, amplifying emotions and complicating the path to resolution. Outside observers, from fans to influencers, remained highly engaged. Social media platforms were flooded with analysis, theories, and reactions. As the story evolved beyond a simple scandal into a complex narrative of trust, betrayal, and public perception, forums buzzed with debate, memes circulated endlessly, and commentary expanded into detailed breakdowns of the leaked footage, relationships, and potential motivations. The relentless scrutiny created a digital pressure cooker, where every gesture, every post, and every statement was magnified. The leaked footage also sparked conversations about privacy, ethics, and accountability in the realm of reality television. Commentators highlighted the unique challenges faced by public figures, whose personal lives are constantly documented and exposed to judgment. Fans considered the implications of leaked content, the responsibilities of those involved, and the broader consequences of navigating trust in a world where private moments can quickly become public spectacle. The discussion transcended mere entertainment, touching on themes of morality, loyalty, and human vulnerability. Rumors of additional interactions between Mendeecees and Erica added further complexity. Sources hinted at unseen footage, secret meetings, and conversations that could shed new light on the situation. Fans eagerly consumed every fragment of information, constructing theories and imagining scenarios that fueled engagement. The uncertainty surrounding these potential revelations heightened anticipation, creating a sense of suspense that kept the audience invested and eager for updates. As the narrative continued, the emotional intensity reached new peaks. Friends and family described moments of confrontation that were raw and unfiltered, revealing cracks in relationships that had previously appeared unshakable. Yandy's questioning of Mendeecees' actions, coupled with his defensive responses, created an atmosphere of tension that was difficult to navigate. Each exchange added layers to the story, highlighting the fragility of trust and the emotional consequences of exposure. The fan base remained intensely involved, analyzing every detail and sharing reactions across platforms. Discussions ranged from supportive messages for Yandy to debates about Mendeecees' behavior. From speculation about Erica's motives to commentary on the broader implications for reality television, the story became a shared experience, a narrative that fans actively shaped and influenced through engagement, interpretation, and dissemination. Production teams and insiders faced their own challenges. The leaked footage disrupted filming schedules, influenced planned storylines, and forced considerations about how to incorporate or respond to the controversy. The intersection of private moments and public storytelling created a tension that producers struggled to manage, balancing authenticity with entertainment value while navigating the unpredictable reactions of a highly invested audience. As the saga unfolded, the personal and public stakes intertwined. Trust, reputation, and relationships were all under scrutiny, while the emotional landscape for the main figures grew increasingly complex. The combination of leaked content, public speculation, and private confrontation created a dynamic environment where every action and reaction was amplified, and where resolution seemed elusive. By this point, it was evident that the story was far from over. Each new development, whether a cryptic social media post, a private conversation leaked to insiders, or a fan-driven theory, contributed to a narrative that was constantly evolving. The anticipation of further revelations kept audiences engaged, emotionally invested, and speculating endlessly. The drama surrounding Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica had transcended a single incident, becoming a layered tale of human emotion, perception, and consequence. As this chapter drew to a close, the events had established a framework for even greater revelations. The leaked footage had set off a cascade of reactions, exposing vulnerabilities, testing loyalties, and reshaping public perception. Fans were captivated, insiders were tense, and the emotional stakes for everyone involved were higher than ever. The story promised more confrontations, shocking disclosures, and dramatic moments, ensuring that the next chapters would continue to captivate, intrigue, and shock audiences around the world. As the saga entered its next phase, the pressure on Mendeecees and Yandy intensified. The leaked footage, once a single point of controversy, had expanded into a whirlwind of rumors, speculation, and emotional upheaval. Every conversation, Every glance and every social media post became material for analysis, with fans dissecting moments for hidden meanings and underlying intentions. The story had evolved beyond a simple scandal into a layered narrative of trust, betrayal, and public perception, with consequences that seemed to ripple endlessly. Yandy's public appearances reflected her ongoing struggle. Friends and insiders described her as determined yet visibly strained, navigating the fallout with a mix of vulnerability and resilience. Her live streams offered glimpses into her emotional state, though she carefully controlled what she shared. Every pause, every subtle gesture, every inflection in her voice became fodder for fan debate, creating a continuous cycle of analysis and speculation. Supporters expressed sympathy and solidarity, while critics questioned her reactions and decisions, further fueling the intensity of public discourse. Mendeecees faced escalating scrutiny, balancing explanations with defensive postures, all while navigating the complex dynamics of his personal relationships. Insiders revealed that he spent hours reflecting, consulting close friends, and attempting to clarify his intentions. Yet, the visual evidence of the leaked footage cast a long shadow, and the public was quick to question the authenticity of his words. Debates raged across forums, social media platforms, and fan groups, dividing opinions and amplifying every perceived misstep. Erica's presence remained a key factor in the ongoing drama. She maintained a controlled public persona, sharing subtle, cryptic messages and images that prompted speculation. Insiders suggested that she was aware of the impact her actions could have on the narrative, and her careful curation kept fans engaged in guessing. Every ambiguous post, every carefully framed photo, and every indirect comment was dissected for meaning, keeping the tension high and the audience invested in what might unfold next. Within the Harris-Smith household, emotions ran high. Private confrontations reportedly grew more intense, with Yandy expressing frustration and hurt, demanding clarity and accountability, while Mendeecees attempted to navigate the fallout with explanations and appeals to understanding. The emotional strain extended to family and close friends, who were drawn into conflicts and discussions, forced to navigate their loyalties while witnessing the personal stakes escalate. The delicate balance of trust, perception, and private emotion created an environment charged with tension and uncertainty. The leaked footage also spurred wider discussions about reality television, privacy, and ethics. Commentators and fans alike debated the responsibility of public figures, the implications of private moments becoming public spectacle, and the broader consequences for relationships and reputations. Each new revelation or social media update was amplified, highlighting the intersection of human emotion and public scrutiny, and prompting reflection on the pressures inherent in a life lived partially in the public eye. Rumors of additional interactions and unseen footage continued to circulate. Sources hinted at further moments that could shed light on the dynamics between Mendeecees and Erica, though details remained vague. Fans eagerly consumed each update, constructing theories and imagining scenarios, further intensifying engagement. The uncertainty surrounding potential future revelations kept audiences hooked, and anticipation grew for what might come next in this complex web of relationships and public drama. The emotional toll on Yandy became increasingly apparent. Friends noted her moments of quiet reflection, sleepless nights, and ongoing attempts to reconcile public perception with personal feelings. Each private conversation, each emotional reaction, and each public post contributed to a broader narrative of resilience, heartbreak, and the struggle to maintain dignity amid scandal. Mendeecees, too, faced an intricate emotional landscape, balancing regret, explanation, and public judgment while attempting to navigate the consequences of his actions. Fans and online communities continued to play a significant role in shaping the narrative. Discussions, replays, and analysis of the leaked footage created a constantly evolving dialogue. Supporters, critics, and casual observers all contributed to a sprawling discourse that magnified the impact of every gesture, word, and reaction. The digital conversation became an integral part of the story itself, reflecting the ways in which public perception and social media dynamics can influence and escalate personal drama. Production teams associated with love and hip-hop grappled with the unexpected fallout. The leaked footage disrupted planned storylines, shifted focus from previously intended narratives, and required careful consideration of how to address or incorporate the controversy. The challenge of balancing authenticity with entertainment, while navigating public reaction and maintaining narrative coherence, added another layer of complexity to an already charged situation. Throughout all of this, the core themes of trust, loyalty, and perception remained central. The leaked footage had exposed vulnerabilities, tested relationships, and forced all involved to confront the consequences of their actions. The intertwining of private emotions and public scrutiny created a landscape where every decision, gesture, and word carried weight, and where the potential for misunderstanding, speculation, and further conflict was constant. As the story progressed, anticipation for further developments grew. Fans speculated about confrontations, clarifications, and emotional revelations, imagining scenarios that could shift alliances, redefine relationships, and alter public perception. Each new social media post, insider report, or cryptic message added layers to the unfolding narrative, sustaining engagement and ensuring that the drama remained at the forefront of entertainment news. By this point, it was clear that the saga was far from over. The leaked footage had set in motion a chain reaction with wide-reaching consequences. Trust, relationships, and reputations were under intense scrutiny, and emotional stakes continued to escalate. Fans, insiders, and observers alike were captivated, anxiously awaiting the next twist, the next confrontation, the next revelation that would continue to shape this complex, high-stakes narrative. Even as this chapter drew to a close, the intensity remained palpable. The interplay of leaked content, emotional confrontation, and public speculation had created a multi-layered drama that defied easy resolution. The story of Mendeecees, Yandy and Erica had become a compelling narrative of human emotion, perception, and consequence, promising that the next developments would be just as shocking, dramatic, and engaging as what had already unfolded. As the saga reached its next stage, the emotional stakes soared higher than ever before. The leaked footage, once a momentary spark of controversy, had ignited a full-blown inferno that engulfed every aspect of Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica's lives. The scrutiny was relentless. Fans dissected every gesture, every expression, and every word with obsessive attention. Online discussions multiplied by the hour, each post, tweet, and story adding layers of complexity to the unfolding drama. The public's fascination was insatiable, and the central figures were caught in a whirlwind from which there was no immediate escape. Yandy's approach to handling the situation remained central to the narrative. Insiders described her as a mix of composed determination and raw vulnerability, walking a fine line between private reflection and public engagement. Live streams, stories, and interviews offered fleeting glimpses into her thoughts. Each word weighed for meaning, each silence magnified. Fans were captivated, debating her emotions, speculating on her next move, and analyzing the subtext of every post. She became a symbol of resilience, her responses resonating with viewers who empathized with the difficulty of navigating public betrayal. Mendeecees faced escalating pressure to respond and reconcile both publicly and privately. Sources revealed the toll on his mental and emotional state. Long nights of reflection, countless discussions with friends and advisors, and attempts to manage the backlash while maintaining personal integrity. Despite his explanations, the leaked footage loomed large, and the public's divided opinion added to the complexity. Supporters defended him, critics condemned him, and neutral observers speculated endlessly. The weight of public judgment became a relentless force, shaping every choice he made. Erica's role continued to fuel speculation. Her social media presence was deliberate and carefully curated, with subtle messages and ambiguous posts that left fans questioning her intentions. Insiders suggested she was fully aware of her influence on the narrative, and her controlled ambiguity kept the audience guessing. Each cryptic story, each carefully framed image, and each indirect comment became part of a puzzle, compelling viewers to connect dots, speculate on hidden motives, and anticipate the next development. Inside the Harris-Smith household, tensions remained high. Private confrontations reportedly reached peaks of emotional intensity, with Yandy demanding answers, expressing frustration, and processing heartbreak, while Mendeecees navigated explanations, remorse, and attempts to maintain trust. Friends and family were drawn into the ongoing drama, witnessing the interplay of loyalty, judgment, and emotional strain. The environment was charged, and every interaction carried the weight of recent revelations, amplifying emotions and complicating attempts at resolution. The broader fanbase remained deeply engaged, dissecting every detail of the scandal. Social media was ablaze with analysis, theories, and commentary, as every gesture, post, and statement was scrutinized for meaning. Forums and fan pages became arenas of debate, where supporters, critics, and casual observers weighed in on trust, loyalty, and emotional authenticity. The digital conversation not only magnified the drama but also became an integral part of it, shaping perception and sustaining attention. Production teams and insiders faced unprecedented challenges. The leaked footage disrupted planned narratives, shifted focus from previously intended storylines, and necessitated rapid adjustments to filming schedules, balancing authenticity, entertainment value, and public reaction created a constant tension, with every decision scrutinized both behind the scenes and by the audience. The intersection of private life and public storytelling had never been more pronounced, highlighting the complexities of producing reality television amid controversy. Rumors of additional unseen footage, secret meetings, and private interactions continued to surface. Fans eagerly speculated about the content and implications, constructing elaborate theories and imagining scenarios that could further escalate tensions. The ambiguity surrounding these potential revelations created suspense, driving engagement and keeping audiences on edge, fully immersed in the drama. Emotional intensity for all involved reached new heights. Yandy's resilience was tested continuously as she navigated heartbreak, public scrutiny, and the challenges of discerning truth amid conflicting narratives. Mendeecees faced the difficult task of balancing remorse, explanation, and public perception, aware that any misstep could inflame controversy. Erica's careful navigation of the situation maintained intrigue, ensuring that the story's complexity and suspense persisted. As the story unfolded, public discourse focused increasingly on trust, loyalty, and the human consequences of exposure. Fans debated the ethical boundaries of reality television, the responsibilities of public figures, and the pressures of living life under constant observation. The leaked footage, emotional confrontations, and social media interactions combined to create a narrative that was as much about human vulnerability as it was about scandal, resonating deeply with audiences and sustaining their attention. Production and insider reports indicated that the climax of the saga was approaching. Hints of future confrontations, potential clarifications, and emotional revelations kept fans on edge. Speculation about how Yandy, Mendeecees, and Erica would respond next drove engagement, with every update or post analyzed for clues. Anticipation for the next chapter of drama reached fever pitch, ensuring that audience interest would remain unwavering. By the time this chapter concluded, the stakes were clear. Relationships had been tested, trust had been strained, and reputations were under intense scrutiny. The leaked footage had triggered a cascade of reactions, revealing vulnerabilities, exposing hidden tensions, and reshaping public perception. Fans, insiders, and the broader community were captivated, aware that the next developments would likely be even more dramatic and revealing. As this segment drew to a close, the narrative had established a foundation for resolution and further escalation alike. The leaked footage had set off a series of events with far-reaching consequences, intertwining personal emotion with public spectacle. Fans remained engaged, insiders remained tense, and the emotional stakes for all involved were higher than ever. The story of Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica promised additional dramatic confrontations, shocking revelations, and moments of emotional intensity that would continue to captivate audiences worldwide. As the dust begins to settle, the impact of the leaked footage and the whirlwind of events surrounding Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica is impossible to ignore. The saga has exposed raw emotions, tested loyalties, and revealed the fragility of trust in ways few could have anticipated. Fans have watched every interaction, replayed every clip, and debated every gesture. Yet despite the public scrutiny, the central figures continue to navigate an emotional landscape that is intensely personal and deeply complicated. The story has been a reminder that behind the glitz, glamour, and entertainment, real human feelings are at stake, and that every action carries weight beyond what cameras capture. Yandy's resilience has been a focal point throughout this journey. She has faced heartbreak and betrayal while maintaining her dignity, offering the public glimpses into her perspective without losing her composure. Fans have witnessed her emotional highs and lows, empathizing with her struggle to reconcile love, trust, and public exposure. Her journey has highlighted the courage it takes to confront painful realities while under the relentless gaze of millions. And it has created a narrative that resonates with anyone who has experienced doubt, betrayal, or disappointment. Mendeecees' experience has been equally revealing, navigating public judgment, personal accountability, and the complexities of his relationships has been a delicate balancing act. His attempts to explain, defend, and repair have been scrutinized, with fans weighing each statement against the visual evidence and prior behavior. The saga underscores the challenges faced by individuals in the public eye, where private actions can have far-reaching consequences and every gesture becomes part of a larger narrative that extends well beyond personal intentions. Erica's subtle but significant role has added layers of suspense and intrigue, Her carefully curated social media presence, combined with moments of ambiguity, has kept fans guessing and discussions alive. The way she has maneuvered within the story demonstrates the power of perception and timing, reminding audiences that sometimes silence and subtlety can speak louder than words, and that public intrigue often thrives on uncertainty. As the story unfolded, the dynamics between friends, family, and insiders revealed just how far-reaching the effects of betrayal and public scrutiny can be. Alliances shifted, relationships were tested, and loyalties were questioned. The ripple effects extended beyond the primary figures, influencing everyone in their orbit, and illustrating that personal drama, when amplified by public attention, can touch lives in unexpected ways. Fans, too, played a crucial role in shaping this narrative. Their discussions, reactions, and speculations created a living dialogue around the events, magnifying the stakes and sustaining engagement. The digital conversation became an extension of the drama itself, a platform where emotions, opinions, and interpretations collided, keeping the story in constant motion and ensuring that every development was immediately contextualized, analyzed, and debated. The saga also raises broader questions about privacy, trust, and the intersection of reality television with real life. When private moments become public spectacle, the consequences extend beyond entertainment into the realm of human experience, affecting emotions, relationships, and reputations. Fans are reminded that behind every scandal or controversy, there are real people grappling with real feelings, and that empathy, understanding, and perspective are crucial, even amid sensationalized narratives. As we reflect on what has transpired, several questions remain. Will Mendeecees and Yandy find a path toward reconciliation? Or will the trust that has been strained prove too difficult to repair? How will Erica's role continue to influence the dynamics between them? And what new revelations might still emerge, capable of reshaping the story once again? The answers remain uncertain, keeping the narrative alive and the audience engaged, eager to see how the next chapter unfolds. This story serves as a reminder of the complexity of human relationships, the power of perception, and the impact of public scrutiny. It highlights the resilience required to navigate betrayal, the emotional intelligence needed to process conflict, and the awareness necessary to handle the pressures of living life under observation. Fans are left to interpret, speculate, and empathize, forming their own connections to the events while awaiting the next turn in a story that continues to captivate and shock. Now, as a viewer, you are part of this ongoing conversation. Your thoughts, opinions, and reactions matter. Did you see the signs before the leak? Do you think forgiveness is possible, or is trust irreparably broken? What role do you believe Erica truly played in this saga? Share your insights, join the discussion, and contribute to the ever-evolving narrative that surrounds Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica. Your engagement keeps the story alive and ensures that every twist, turn, and revelation reaches a wider audience. Don't forget to like this video if you were captivated by the drama, subscribe to stay updated on every shocking development, and comment below with your thoughts and predictions. Will there be reconciliation, more revelations, or an entirely new twist that no one saw coming? Your voice matters, your opinion shapes the conversation, and your participation ensures that you remain part of the unfolding story. Remember, this is more than just a scandal, it's a glimpse into human emotion, trust, and the consequences of exposure. Stay engaged, stay thoughtful, and watch closely as the next chapter promises to deliver even more drama, emotion, and jaw-dropping moments. Stay tuned, stay involved, and keep sharing your perspective. The story isn't over, and the world is watching as Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica navigate the fallout, one revelation at a time. Your comments, likes, and subscriptions make you part of the conversation, part of the drama, part of the speculation, and part of the journey. So speak up, share your thoughts, and don't miss a single moment of this unfolding saga. Your voice matters. Your opinion matters. Stay engaged, stay watching, and remember, the next twist is always just around the corner. As the saga stretched further, the tension surrounding Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica reached levels that fans could hardly imagine. What began as a single leaked footage now became a full-blown examination of relationships, loyalty, and the impact of living life in the public eye. The drama was no longer just a scandal. It was a living, breathing narrative that unfolded with every post, every story, and every reaction from the central figures. Insiders reported that the emotional atmosphere around the trio was electric, filled with uncertainty, regret, and anticipation. Yandy's emotional journey deepened as she attempted to process the betrayal. Sources close to her described moments of reflection, long walks, and hours spent in private conversations with close friends who tried to help her make sense of the chaos. Her face in photos, sometimes composed, sometimes tired, reflected the storm inside. Fans dissected each of her posts, analyzing the smallest gestures for hidden meaning. Every slight tilt of her head, every cryptic caption, and every fleeting smile or frown became part of a broader narrative that seemed to extend beyond her control. Mendeecees found himself caught between accountability and public perception. Insiders revealed that he struggled to reconcile his private intentions with the very public consequences of the leak. He attempted to reach out to Yandy to explain, and to rebuild trust. But the intensity of public scrutiny magnified every word, every hesitation, and every expression. Friends described him as exhausted but determined, navigating the turbulent waters of remorse, explanation, and the fear of losing not just trust but also the very relationships that defined his personal life. Erica's presence continued to fascinate fans. Her subtle posts, carefully timed stories, and cryptic captions ensured that speculation never waned. Insiders suggested that her calculated ambiguity was intentional, designed to keep the public engaged and guessing. The impact of her social media behavior was profound. Fans debated her intentions, speculated on possible next moves, and analyzed every frame of footage in which she appeared. The narrative thrived on this uncertainty, with every hint of involvement fueling endless discussions and heightening suspense. The leaked footage also had ripple effects beyond personal relationships. Production teams, editors, and even network executives were reportedly scrambling to respond, adjusting storylines, interviews, and shooting schedules to account for the unexpected fallout. What had once been a planned narrative now became reactive, responding to viral moments and fan-driven speculation. Insiders noted the challenges of balancing entertainment with authenticity, as every decision about what to air, how to frame conversations, and which perspectives to highlight carried weight and consequence. Inside private spaces, the tension among friends and family was palpable. Sources described moments of confrontation where emotions ran roiling, tears and pleading interspersed with silence heavy with unresolved questions. These interactions revealed how deeply trust had been shaken and how difficult reconciliation could be. Friends tried to mediate, yet the intensity of the emotions made every conversation a delicate negotiation, one misstep capable of triggering further conflict. The emotional complexity was palpable, and the stakes could not have been higher. Fans played a pivotal role in shaping the ongoing drama. Social media became both stage and judge, amplifying every reaction, dissecting every conversation, and magnifying every moment of tension. Forums buzzed with theories, predictions, and debates, while comment sections exploded with speculation about motives, next moves, and unseen footage. The audience was no longer a passive observer, they were active participants, shaping perception and sustaining the narrative's intensity. Every like, share, and comment added fuel to the fire, making public engagement an inseparable part of the story. As the story continued, the emotional stakes intensified. Yandy faced ongoing heartbreak, struggling to reconcile private feelings with the relentless gaze of public attention. Insiders described her moments of doubt, anger, and sorrow, tempered by bursts of clarity and determination. She grappled with questions of forgiveness, trust, and future possibilities, navigating the complex interplay of personal emotion and public scrutiny. Every decision carried the weight of consequence, influencing both her personal life and the narrative presented to the public. Mendeecees, meanwhile, wrestled with the dual pressures of repairing his relationships and managing public perception. Friends described private conversations where he expressed frustration, remorse, and a desire to make amends. Yet the public, empowered by viral content and social media amplification, scrutinized every attempt at reconciliation, creating an environment in which mistakes, hesitations, and miscommunications were magnified exponentially. The challenge of balancing accountability with the reality of public exposure was relentless, shaping every action and decision. Erica's carefully measured silence and strategic social media behavior added an additional layer of suspense. Insiders noted that she seemed aware of the power her ambiguity held, using it to maintain influence over the narrative. Fans debated her motives, analyzed patterns, and speculated endlessly about potential future developments. This calculated ambiguity ensured that the drama remained unpredictable, sustaining engagement and keeping the audience invested in what might come next. The wider fan base remained enthralled, engaging in debates, posting theories, and replaying footage to uncover hidden clues. The story's impact extended far beyond casual viewership. It became a communal experience where audiences collectively analyzed, interpreted, and speculated on human behavior, trust, and the consequences of exposure. Forums, threads, and social media communities became extensions of the drama itself, allowing fans to feel intimately connected to the narrative while shaping its perception in real time. Production insiders revealed the strain behind the cameras. Shooting schedules were adjusted, interviews restructured, and storylines reimagined in response to the viral footage. The leak had transformed the narrative landscape, forcing creative teams to rethink how to present events while balancing authenticity with viewer engagement. Each decision carried pressure, as the audience was intensely attuned to every narrative choice and public interaction, ready to respond with either support or criticism. Rumors of additional footage and private interactions continued to circulate, further escalating anticipation. Insiders suggested that more revelations could emerge at any moment, potentially altering public perception and reigniting debates. Fans eagerly consumed each update, dissecting cryptic posts and speculating on what might happen next. This constant uncertainty fueled engagement, ensuring that the saga remained at the forefront of public attention. With every detail magnified in the collective consciousness, emotions among the central figures remained raw. Yandy's resilience, Mendeecees' attempts at repair, and Erica's ambiguous maneuvering combined to create a charged environment in which every word, gesture, and decision mattered. The interplay of personal emotion and public attention magnified consequences, testing relationships and reputations in ways few could fully anticipate. Insiders described moments of private vulnerability, tension, and confrontation that contrasted sharply with the composed public appearances, highlighting the complex human dimensions behind the spectacle. As the narrative evolved, themes of trust, perception, and accountability became increasingly pronounced. Fans debated moral responsibility, the consequences of exposure, and the challenges of navigating private life under public scrutiny. The leaked footage and subsequent fallout served as a case study in human emotion and societal fascination, illustrating how personal actions can ripple through public consciousness and generate sustained attention. Each revelation, each cryptic post, each private interaction contributed to a story that was both deeply personal and widely consumed. By this stage, the saga had reached a level of complexity that left fans eager for every update. Speculation about reconciliations, further confrontations, and new revelations created anticipation that fueled social media engagement. The narrative was no longer static. It evolved with every interaction, shaping public perception and keeping the audience invested in the fate of Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica. Each twist added layers, ensuring that the drama remained both compelling and unpredictable. As this additional segment concludes, the story has grown richer, more intense, and even more emotionally charged. The leaked footage has revealed vulnerabilities, tested loyalties, and reshaped relationships in ways that resonate deeply with viewers. The saga of Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica continues to unfold, promising more revelations, confrontations, and emotional moments that will captivate fans and sustain engagement. As the story progressed, the atmosphere surrounding Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica became even more charged. What had started as a single leaked footage now evolved into an intricate web of speculation, emotions, and public scrutiny that seemed impossible to escape. Insiders revealed that tension between the three reached unprecedented levels, with private confrontations growing more intense and the weight of public expectation pressing heavily on every decision they made. Yandy's emotional journey deepened with each passing day. Friends reported that she spent hours reflecting on the betrayal, walking through memories, and questioning the motives behind every action she had witnessed. She grappled with moments of doubt, heartbreak, and flashes of anger, yet remained determined to maintain her dignity and composure. Fans followed her closely, analyzing subtle facial expressions, cryptic captions, and pauses during live sessions, all while speculating about her next move. The combination of vulnerability and strength resonated deeply, making her a central figure of empathy and fascination in the unfolding saga. Mendeecees faced mounting pressure as he attempted to navigate the dual challenges of accountability and public perception. Sources described him pacing through private spaces, making calls to confidants, and trying to craft explanations that would repair trust while addressing the scrutiny from fans. Yet every attempt to clarify or defend himself seemed to be dissected, replayed, and debated by an audience hungry for drama. The emotional toll was significant, with each moment of hesitation or defensiveness amplified by the viral nature of the footage. Erica's strategic silence and calculated social media activity continued to fuel speculation. Insiders noted that her choice to remain ambiguous allowed fans to project theories onto her actions, keeping the narrative alive and unpredictable. Cryptic captions, subtle images, and ambiguous stories ensured that every new post prompted intense debate and speculation. The uncertainty surrounding her role maintained suspense, as audiences tried to interpret hidden meanings, motives, and possible future developments. The ripple effects of the leaked footage extended far beyond the central figures. Production teams, editors, and network executives faced challenges as they adjusted storylines, interview questions, and filming schedules in response to the unexpected controversy. What had initially been a structured narrative became reactive, shaped by fan speculation and viral moments. Insiders revealed the pressure to balance authenticity with entertainment, knowing that each decision could influence public perception and affect the trajectory of the story. Within private spaces, the emotional strain was palpable. Sources described intense confrontations filled with raised voices, tears, and tense silences. Friends and family were caught in the middle, trying to mediate while navigating their own emotional responses. The dynamics revealed vulnerabilities that had previously been hidden, highlighting the difficulty of maintaining trust and the fragility of relationships under intense public scrutiny. The stakes were personal, emotional, and deeply consequential. Fans remained highly engaged, dissecting every detail and engaging in speculation that often rivaled the intensity of the events themselves. Forums, comment sections, and social media platforms became arenas for discussion, where supporters, critics, and casual viewers debated motives, interpreted gestures, and constructed narratives that intertwined with the unfolding drama. The digital dialogue amplified the story, ensuring that the saga maintained momentum and that every new development was immediately contextualized and examined. As the narrative unfolded, emotional intensity reached new peaks. Yandy's struggle to reconcile private feelings with public scrutiny highlighted her resilience and vulnerability. Sources described moments of self-doubt, reflection, and careful decision-making as she navigated a landscape of betrayal and observation. Each choice carried weight, not only for her personal life but also for how the story would be interpreted by millions of viewers. Mendeecees faced similar challenges, balancing remorse, explanation, and the ever-present lens of public judgment. Insiders noted that he was deeply affected by the potential consequences, both personal and public, and spent countless hours reflecting on his actions. Attempts at repair were scrutinized, amplified, and debated, making the process of reconciliation complex and fraught with uncertainty. The constant pressure created an environment where every word and gesture became pivotal, magnifying emotional stakes and public interest alike. Erica's carefully managed ambiguity continued to drive suspense. Insiders described her as aware of the power of perception, using calculated silence and strategic posts to maintain influence over the narrative. Fans speculated endlessly, trying to decode meaning from every post and comment. This ambiguity ensured that the story remained unpredictable, sustaining engagement and keeping audiences invested in the next potential revelation or confrontation. The fan community played an integral role in shaping the narrative. Discussions, analyses, and theories created a collective interpretation of events. With audiences actively participating in the story, their engagement magnified the emotional stakes, intensified speculation, and influenced the way each new development was perceived. The digital ecosystem became both a mirror and an amplifier of the personal drama, transforming private conflict into a public spectacle that demanded continuous attention. Production teams grappled with the challenge of presenting the unfolding drama authentically while keeping it compelling for audiences. Adjustments to interviews, storylines, and filmed content were made to reflect the evolving narrative, ensuring that the portrayal remained relevant and emotionally impactful. Insiders reported the pressure to maintain authenticity, balance entertainment value, and navigate fan expectations, creating a complex environment for creative decision-making. Rumors of additional interactions and unseen footage added layers of intrigue. Fans eagerly speculated about what might still emerge, imagining scenarios that could shift loyalties, alter perceptions, and reignite public debate. Each cryptic post, insider tip, or ambiguous statement added fuel to the speculation, sustaining engagement and ensuring that anticipation remained high. The story continued to evolve in real time, shaped by both the actions of the central figures and the interpretations of the audience. Emotions ran high among the trio. Yandy's resilience, Mendeecees' efforts at accountability, and Erica's strategic ambiguity combined to create an atmosphere of intensity and unpredictability. Every conversation, gesture, and post carried significance, and the consequences of misinterpretation or misstep loomed large. Insiders described moments of private confrontation that revealed vulnerability, tension, and the complexities of human emotion behind the public-facing narrative. As the saga continued, the themes of trust, perception, and accountability became increasingly central. Fans debated morality, loyalty, and the consequences of exposure, while reflecting on the challenges of navigating private life under public observation. The leaked footage, combined with social media dynamics and interpersonal conflict, created a narrative that was both personal and widely consumed, illustrating the delicate interplay between private action and public interpretation. By this point, anticipation for further developments reached fever pitch. Fans speculated on possible reconciliations, new confrontations, and hidden footage that could alter the course of events. The story evolved dynamically, with each new interaction, post, or revelation reshaping the narrative and keeping audiences deeply engaged. The emotional intensity, layered relationships, and unpredictable twists ensured that the drama remained compelling and impossible to ignore. As this expanded segment concludes, the saga of Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica has become richer, more suspenseful, and increasingly complex. Vulnerabilities have been exposed, loyalties tested, and public perception shaped in real. The narrative promises more revelations, emotional confrontations, and dramatic developments, keeping fans captivated and invested in the unfolding story. The intensity, unpredictability, and human drama ensure that the audience remains engaged, eagerly anticipating the next chapter in this high-stakes saga. As all of this unfolds, one thing is crystal clear. The saga of Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica has captured the attention of the world, and it shows no signs of slowing down. Fans are still dissecting every interaction, replaying every clip, and speculating about what might happen next. The tension, the heartbreak, the betrayals, and the moments of resilience have kept the audience on the edge of their seats, making every new update feel monumental. What started as a single leaked footage has grown into an emotional roller coaster, a saga of trust and perception, and a narrative that reminds us how fragile human connections can be when exposed to public scrutiny. Yandy's journey has resonated deeply with viewers. Her strength, vulnerability, and willingness to confront betrayal head-on make her an emblem of resilience. She has navigated heartbreak, public judgment, and moments of private doubt, and yet she has continued to maintain her dignity, leaving fans both inspired and emotionally invested. Every post, every live session, and every subtle gesture is analyzed and discussed by audiences who feel connected to her story. And it's clear that her emotional authenticity is one of the reasons this saga has struck such a chord. Mendeecees, too, has become central to the conversation. His attempts to reconcile, to explain, and to take accountability have been watched closely, and fans debate the sincerity of every action. He faces the difficult task of navigating public perception while processing personal regret and attempting to rebuild trust. The pressure is immense, and the scrutiny unrelenting. Yet his journey adds layers to the story, illustrating the complex interplay between personal responsibility, relationships, and the watchful eyes of a global audience. Erica's role continues to fuel speculation. Her carefully measured social media posts, cryptic captions, and subtle gestures have kept viewers guessing. Every ambiguous message adds to the tension, keeping the story unpredictable and suspenseful. Fans analyze her every move, trying to decode hidden meanings, motives, and the potential for further drama. Her calculated presence in the saga ensures that no one can ever feel entirely certain about what will happen next, and that uncertainty keeps audiences glued to every update. The reactions of fans have become a story in themselves. Forums, comment sections, and social media platforms are alive with debate, speculation, and analysis. Viewers discuss what they would do in Yandy's place, defend Mendeecees' attempts at repair, and theorize about Erica's next move. The digital conversation keeps the narrative alive, sustaining suspense and deepening the emotional connection fans have with every development. Every like, share, and comment contributes to the unfolding story, making the audience not just observers, but active participants in the drama. As the dust settles from each revelation, several questions remain unanswered. Will trust ever be fully restored between Mendeecees and Yandy? Is there more footage or private interactions yet to surface that could change everything? How will Erica's influence shape the next chapter? Fans are left speculating, waiting, and emotionally invested, because in a saga like this, the The story never truly ends, it only evolves. The suspense keeps hearts racing and eyes glued to screens, eager for the next twist, the next confrontation, and the next emotional revelation. This story is a reminder of the fragility of human relationships, the complexity of trust, and the weight of public scrutiny. It's not just entertainment, it's a study in emotions, choices, and consequences. The lessons are clear. Private moments can have public repercussions. Perception can outweigh intention, and every gesture carries meaning. Audiences have learned to look beyond what is shown, to read between the lines, and to understand that reality, even when sensationalized, reflects deeply human experiences. Now, it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think will happen next? Will Mendeecees and Yandy reconcile, or has trust been broken? Beyond repair, what do you believe Erica's true intentions are, and how might she continue to influence the unfolding story? Your opinion matters. Your insights contribute to the ongoing discussion, and your engagement ensures that the drama continues to thrive. Every comment adds a new perspective, every theory sparks conversation, and every shared thought deepens the connection between the audience and the story. Don't forget to like this video if the saga has captivated you, to subscribe so you never miss a shocking twist, and to comment with your theories, predictions, and feelings about what's happening. Are you Team Yandy, rooting for forgiveness, or do you side with the skeptics, questioning the sincerity of every action? Perhaps you are fascinated by Erica's role and want to see how her next move shakes up the story. Whatever your perspective, your engagement keeps the narrative alive and ensures you remain part of the unfolding drama. Remember, this isn't just a story, it's an emotional journey, a reality check, and a glimpse into human vulnerability under the public eye. Stay involved, watch closely, and participate, because the next revelation could happen at any moment. This saga is far from over, and every twist will impact relationships, reputations, and the hearts of those involved. Your attention, thoughts, and voices are part of the experience. So, speak up, comment, and share your insights. Like and subscribe to stay on top of every jaw-dropping moment, every confrontation, and every revelation. This story is alive, and your participation ensures you don't miss a single second. Stay engaged, stay curious, and remain part of the ongoing conversation, because the saga of Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica is far from finished, and the next chapter promises more emotion, more drama, and more shocking moments that will leave fans talking for weeks to come. Your voice matters. Your opinion matters. Stay involved, stay watching, and never underestimate the power of being part of the conversation as this story continues to unfold. The next twist is always just around the corner, and you won't want to miss it.